Alrighty, everybody. Well, I just realized I never had the intro music turned on. It was literally just my mic on. So, that's always good. Always a great way to start the stream. What's up, guys? Good to see y'all. Hope everyone's doing well. We got some activity going on here tonight. We're gonna do some talking like we normally do. We gotta have a talk. We gotta have a talk, y'all. Got some severe weather going on and all kinds of fun stuff like that. Also tropics too. Anyways, friends, good to see ya. We got tabletop. We have Sakura. Is that how you say your name? We have Jill. We have Josh's. We have tabletop. We have the legendary Andrew. He's here as well. Good to see you guys. But anyways, folks, what's up, guys? Hope everyone is doing good. So we got some information for y'all. I don't think we had any new hurricane updates. I think the update here, let's see. Last update was at 7:28. So yeah, we do have actually a new update from the Hurricane Center, but they did not change any of the probabilities. So those are still the same. So basically, the probability of formation in the next 48 hours is at a 20%. So we're not really expected much here in the next 2 days. The next week, though, we got a 70% chance. So, you know, we have a pretty good shot here for the next 7 days overall. What's up, Mia? Saying, hey, what's up, my friend? Good to see ya. Hopefully you are doing well. But anyways, yeah, so like I said, probability is still the same since the last assessment here, but we do got some new models and stuff we're going to look out there for. So let's hop you guys right on into it. We're just going to dive on into models and all kinds of fun stuff. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to turn on those outlooks there. So yeah, so here's the area that we're watching here. It is not yet an invest here. I do not believe so. I think it's still, I'm pretty sure it's still just a disturbance. I don't think it's quite an invest. Yeah, so it's not an invest yet, but whenever it does, we'll let you guys know. But anyways, but yeah, we'll look at the models here and stuff. So first of all, the first thing I really want to dive into, like we usually been doing, is the ensembles. So we're going to look at some of those here. Let's hop over to ECENS. And then we'll kind of really dive into some of those main models and stuff. So whenever it comes to it here, so we're not going to look any really further than 180 hours out because, I mean, you guys know I don't like to look that far out because of how inconsistent and, you know, how inaccurate things are beyond this point. And just how much they change, you know, beyond this point. So that's why we really don't want to look any further. But here's the ECENS here, you know, keeping a lot of the activity here within these margins. You can see just north of the Antilles and the Virgin Islands. So that's actually good news, is that the system will likely dodge the Virgin Islands, you know, some of those islands out by the Antilles, you know, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti, you guys will likely be okay here with this system here. You know, the system will likely just remain to the north of you. What's up, Emmanuel? Good to see you. Hopefully you are doing well. But yeah, so that is definitely some good news here. So looking at the other models, so that's the ECENS. The GEFS does have a member or two, you know, kind of going towards the Virgin Islands, but, you know, that's really unlikely. And is definitely likely not going to do that here. We also do have, you know, once again, much of the model support here from the GEFS showing up here, you know, in the same margin as the ECENS. So, you know, there's a lot of support there. Now, when it comes to the FNV3, you can see that we do have possibly even a second wave that could be coming through. You know, that's actually been a bit of a talk between some of these models here. But yeah, looking over here at the GDM FNV3, you can see that, you know, mostly just on the southern side here from most of the ensembles of the ECENS. So, you know, this block that we made here, this is where most of the ECENS models or members were within, and you can see that this is mostly just under here for the most part. So, you know, that is what we got going on there. So, you know, we'll definitely keep an eye out there for the models, and, you know, they're going to be wiggling around. They're going to be wiggling around a little bit, you know, over the next few days. You know, that's just what happens, man. You know, these models, they just wiggle. They wiggle and wiggle and wiggle until they stop wiggling, and then once they stop wiggling, then we have a better idea of where the thing's going to go. So just got to kind of ride out those wiggles, and whenever we ride out the wiggles, then we'll be good. So, anyways, so that's that's what was that one? The FNV3. So let's hop into GENC. So still, the GE. This is still the GDM GENC. So not a whole lot of a difference between the F and V3. I mean, they're basically on point here for the most part. But another thing, like I said, I want to mention though is that there's also two other areas here from this in particular run here. So tropics seem to be heating up. Really seem to be heating up pretty good. So definitely we need to not only just watch the system, but we'll have to look out for any other future systems here to develop as well. So now let's bring you guys back over here for a minute. Let's take a peek at some of these individual models here. Let's see. We now have the 18 UTC GFS. I don't think. See, I made a video earlier. I also did a live stream earlier that didn't really work out very well. We ended up having some internet problems, but I don't remember if we went over the 18 UTC GFS. I think this is gonna be new. Anyways, we'll go over it regardless. So there's the system. You can just see southwest of the Cabo Verde. So, the system obviously is, not very, very, near anywhere big currently. But yeah, as we work our way down in time, the system will be working its way over here to the west overall. Throughout the next few days, I mean, you guys can see the time in the top left there, and the date here. From where we're at now to pretty much the 17th, 18th or whatever, not a whole lot of strengthening. I mean, obviously a little bit of pickup, could occur, but it's going to be very slow. Reason being is because of moisture concerns. You can actually see here as we work our way into, kind of the later portion of the 18th here. It really starts to show, like the GFS here, pulling in a lot of dry air into the system here. You can see all this moisture on the right-hand side, but the western side and the southern side, relatively dry. So that's really going to be allowing for things to just not necessarily develop as quickly as, say, if it was fully full of moisture. So yeah, moisture is going to be a little bit of an issue for a little bit. But then the GFS really does have this thing, picking up some heat, picking up some, strength here overall as it eventually kind of gets a hold of itself. But, anything beyond this point is still unknown. We have a lot of mechanics going on at this point in time. As you can kind of see, we do have this strong low and a high pressure building in, very, very large gradient here. This would really steer the storm around, so we'll have to see if it gets caught above or below that that push. So a lot of things can absolutely still change here. We are still far from being solid, so the system absolutely could still trend further west. It could still trend further south. We're, like I said, we're still kind of wiggling around a little bit, so until the wiggles stop wiggling, then we'll be good. But anyways, so that's GFS Euro ECMWF here. If we look at the 12 Zulu run, we do not have the 18 UTC run ready. But 12 Zulu, you can also see here for the 18th. The reason why we really don't pick up a whole lot of strength is because of this dry air. At least initially, like I said, initially it doesn't look like we're going to be picking up a whole lot of moisture, but then once we kind of progress farther down into later next week, system could actually pick up and actually really organize itself decently and everything. So this Euro model, obviously we don't want to go too far down in time, but it also kind of wants the system to be a bit further to the west here, kind of near Bermuda. Now obviously there's no immediate threat for Bermuda or anywhere right now, so don't worry about it. Obviously there's a lot of changes that are likely going to be done by the time we get to this time frame. But, like I said, for at least the next few days, dry air is going to be present with the system. It's going to have a little bit of a struggle overall. And, might even run into a little bit of wind shear as well. We take a look here. We actually do have some pretty strong wind shear going on across some of the region here, where the system is at. So there could be a little bit of wind shear interference. But initially. But once we work our way into, kind of right around, the 18th, 19th, 20th or so, just sometime later on in the week, the wind shear should lighten a bit as well. A lot of this is just upper level venting kind of going on within the system here. But we do have a bit of a jet right now over the just north of the Cabo Verde. So there could be some influences here. But regardless, we're not expecting like rapid strengthening or anything like that, within the next couple of days. This is kind of more of an extended concern, Still is a lot of things that we do need to, pick up on, and there still is a lot of things that we need to figure out here, which will take days. It'll still take a couple of days before we kind of really understand fully where the system could end up. But with that being said, what we can tell you is that GFS Euro, they mostly keep the system just above the Virgin Islands, above the Antilles, so that's good. That's good. So as of right now, those areas do not appear to be in any concern here. So that is definitely really, really some good news here. So we'll definitely, still just continue watching it. More than likely, it'll kind of just pull its way up to the north of some of those areas there. So, well, let's hop over to SAT here. We're gonna pull up the main development region here. Let's see what we got going on here at the storm. So earlier, still just a bunch of blobs of storms. It's not really doing anything super crazy right now, but it's just, a bunch of scattered convection, very, very disorganized thunderstorm and shower activity going on. So the biggest thing that's inhibiting this is dry air so far. So a lot of the dry air is really going to be coming in play here within the next few days. But yes, dry air will be the main reason it does not kick up in activity here, within the next few days. See, if the environment was full of moisture, if the system could get a hold of a lot of that moisture, then we could see some stuff happen sooner. But given the fact that there is going to be a lot of dry air, that's going to really prevent the system from, initially at the start, kicking up, So that's why once we kind of work our way farther down in the track, that's whenever we get more organization likely to occur. More moisture will be available, stuff like that, in which, that at that point in time is whenever the system could be something to look out there for, absolutely. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, this is going to be a fish storm. Well, it's possible, but it's still early to tell. There is still absolutely no way of being for sure that it could or could not be. So it definitely needs everybody's attention, and is definitely something that we are going to be watching for. And, like we mentioned here as well, there is, not only the system, there could be some more potential waves to come off of Africa pretty soon. So we'll have to just monitor that as well. ECENS does show a little bit of that activity. GEFS as well shows a little bit of it. Really, the GDM models, you can see there's another wave here. This is for the 22nd, so this is still quite a few days away. But you can see there's 22nd, another wave here, and then of course we have the GENC. Showing, not one but maybe two other waves, which, it's a little early to tell for sure, but looks like activity is certainly increasing. So we'll definitely be watching it, and if there's any other systems that pop off, we'll certainly be watching it closely. Let's see here. Honestly, anything could take right now, regarding the system here. It could still track further south. It could track further north. Nothing is final yet. But like I mentioned, from what we do know and from what is likely going to occur, is that the system will likely just remain north of some of these major Caribbean islands. Once again, like Puerto Rico, the Antilles, the Virgin Islands, those areas will likely be okay. But, depending on the system and, its ability to strengthen and how big the storm gets could have some indirect influences, possibly as, strong waves, maybe some rip currents. It just depends on, first of all, the proximity to these areas, but also size, strength also will determine that. But that's still way too far out to be be for sure. But we'll definitely keep you guys up to date and everything like that. As the days go on, we'll have more and more information every day, and we'll just continue to keep you guys up to date with everything. Absolutely. So, anyways, but yeah, let's hop back to the models here, the individuals. So we're going to take a look at the CMC. We have not looked at the CMC model yet today, but CMC does have not a whole lot of activity kicking off in the next few days. But kind of maybe when we approach right around the 19th or 20th or so, kind of for later next week, that's when we possibly could start to see some more activity. But according to CMC, it's a little bit aggressive here and shows a couple other waves as well, kind of rolling through. But yeah, at this point in time, you don't want to go too much further than this. 180 hours out is kind of where I'd like to, stop. Looking at the models because of the inconsistencies and all that stuff that is there. So, but yeah, I mean, all models, Euro, GFS, now CMC, they all show the system having a really good shot at future development. Not necessarily short term, but more long term. Shows more activity here occurring in kind of the later portion. So that's that. Now, Icon, obviously another model that we know and love. Icon, kind of similar. Let's do 12 Zulu. We'll go a little bit further down in time frame here. Yeah, so, yeah, actually, pretty on spot with GFS and Euro. Once again, keeping that system well north of the Virgin Islands, well north of the Antilles. Definitely good. Definitely good. And, considering that we have a lot of support for that right now, also a lot of the ensembles as well support that. That is a good indicator that these islands will likely be okay from the system here. So not too worried about anybody right now. But, with time, we'll see what happens. Obviously, we'll keep you guys up to date, like I mentioned before, and we'll see what else happens. Now, I want to take a moment of y'all's time here to hop over to the country, because we do have a lot of severe weather kind of going on here today. We got 3 slight risks here, which is kind of interesting here. So we do have a couple slight risk here. We do actually have a tornado warning up in North Dakota observed apparently too. Here, let's take a peek here. Yeah, this has 26 minutes radar confirmed tornado. Let me try CC. Is there any? Maybe go back in time a little bit here. Was that it right there? Hold up, let's take a look at velocity. No, that's not it. Or hold on, it could be. It could be. I just wasn't on the right time frame. Yeah, that's it. So you can see there's that little bit of rotation right there. Bam. Look at that little tight little couplet there. I wish it would automatically overlap CC, the time frame and stuff. But yeah, we got a little bit of severe weather going on up north. So we got that 5% tornado threat for North Dakota, a little bit of northern South Dakota here. 2% goes through South Dakota, Nebraska, and Kansas here. So a bit of a tornado threat tonight, which we'll definitely need you guys to watch pretty closely. In terms of wind, we got 2 15% risk areas. We got one up for the northeastern panhandle of Texas. Another one up here for the north central side of Oklahoma and a little bit of the south central side of Kansas here. Of course, we do got a lot of central, a little bit of eastern North Dakota here as well, and a little bit of northern South Dakota inside of that 15%. And then hail, couple level 2 threats as well. So yeah, I mean, it is pretty much a triple threat tonight here. Got some fire weather watches up by, that's up by Seattle. Just east of Seattle. We got some fire weather watches going on here. Here, let's bring up our drought monitor here. I know it's been pretty dry. Yeah, very dry up here by the Seattle area. It looks like got all kinds of extreme droughts here. Same thing for Idaho as well. You can see actually a little bit of exponential droughts going on. Goodness, very dry. Pacific Northwest and the Southwest here as well. It's quite dry. Midwest is as well as, also pretty darn dry. Mid-Atlantic, Northeast. Yeah, the only areas who's kind of not in a drought is pretty much the top plains. the high plains, the upper Midwest, towards like some of the Great Lakes, bits of the southeast, like Georgia, Florida, and then of course some of the central plains here as well. So, yeah, Florida actually, believe it or not, by like Fort Lauderdale, it's pretty dry apparently. A little bit of storms out there by like the Miami area. But anyways, so that's that. Definitely pretty dry. Now, I do want to bring this up here. So we have Tropical Storm Mario. So Mario was actually dead. Mario ended, but it came back to life, which is weird. I have not seen that much happen in weather, where you have the system that has, since faded out, fizzled out, and then the end of the cone, everything from the hurricane center, and then it comes back magically. So Mario's back, man. Mario's back. Let's see here. Hello to me being in a severe drought or very close to it. Yeah. It's dry for a lot of people. Absolutely. By me, I'm over here by Lakeland. It's abnormally dry, but a lot of Florida is pretty good, especially central, southwestern, like Everglades. Not really dry. It's a lot of it's though, like southeastern Florida, like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie. Some of those areas are pretty darn dry. A little bit dry up in the Panhandle, but anyways. See, Lee in 2017 pulled us something like that. Did it? Why does that sound familiar? See, I'm not good with storm history. Going back in date and remembering these storms. Unless they're, like, significant enough, I usually don't remember them. But, like, obviously some big ones, Sandy, of course. Remember Sandy, Irma, Ian, Ida, Milton. I mean, I was in Milton, so that one's obviously going to stick with me, But I've covered dozens of hurricanes on this channel. I mean, dozens and dozens of them. But I'm just terrible at remembering. I'm just really bad at remembering these old storms here. Zach says you're in Lakeland. I'm in Bella Glade, not far from you. Oh yeah. Let's see, where is that at? I could probably pull it up here. Curious. Bella Glade, Florida. Oh, okay. So you're you're further south of me. Yeah, you're probably like 2 or 3 hours away from me. Pretty close. Not too far. Yeah, I'm up here in Lakeland, just between Tampa and Orlando. Kind of squeezed between major cities here. I mean, Lakeland's pretty big itself, though. The cool thing about Lakeland is that's Hurricane Hunter Central, at least the NOAA Hurricane Hunters. Air Force Hurricane Hunters is up in, like, I think Gulfport, or is it Gulfport or is it Mobile? Somewhere around there. I just know it's in this vicinity. But that's pretty cool, Zach. It's cool to know that we have some people nearby. It's always nice. But anyways, yeah, so like I mentioned, we'll definitely keep an eye on the tropics. Also severe weatherland, we do need to be watching out pretty closely as well. Tomorrow as of now seems pretty good. I mean, it doesn't look like we really have anything big going on. We just got a big old threat of general thunderstorms here. Nothing big, no tornadoes, no damaging winds or hail expected tomorrow. Just a bit of thunderstorms for South Florida, portions of like eastern North Carolina. Some of the areas of the Midwest Plains, upper Midwest, northern Plains, some of the Great Lakes areas. Yeah, just nothing big. Day 3, so day after tomorrow, we do have a marginal for portions of Nebraska, Kansas, Colorado here. So definitely we'll watch out there for that. But yeah, a lot of the activity here is going on tonight. So also just need you guys to be weather aware tonight throughout the plains. I mean, this is a pretty long risk. I mean, that goes all the way from West Texas up to the top of northern North Dakota, which the threat goes into Canada as well. So very interesting. Carrot says today was an insane day. So many tornadoes, very abnormal for this time of the year. Yeah, it's been pretty quiet lately, severe weather-wise. I did see a lot of tornado warnings for North Dakota. There's a lot of people covering it, and I don't believe there's a whole lot of people that's out in a lot of these regions, thankfully. So a lot of it was rural. But yeah, pretty crazy. We still do have a tornado warning in effect here for 12 more minutes here. Got a handful of storms up for like Texas as well. See 60-mile-an-hour winds, quarter hail, just kind of baseline stuff. Let's see here. This one's pretty big on hail. By Wakini. Is that how you say it? Wakini and Ogala. Oh, how do you say it? Ogala, Collier, and Wakini. So this one has 1.5 inch hail. That's ping pong ball hail. That's pretty good size hail. Had like 5 or so wedges. Really? Wow. What's the here? Let me bring up mesoanalysis here. Wonder what the kinematics are out there. Here, let's move up. Oh, let's go Northern Plains here. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, we got a pretty strong lower level jet though. Look at that. So we have a pretty good size, like 30, 35 knots for portions of the Dakotas, Minnesota. Instability seems fairly low for the most part. We got some pockets that are high, but yeah, I mean we do have a pretty good, pretty good jet stream there. Very interesting. You was one of many watching the tornadoes. Yeah. Let's see. Andrew jinxed it by saying it's quiet. Now it's going to go nuts in October. That's how it goes, is it? Pretty much how it goes. But I really do think that October, despite a slow start to the hurricane season, I think October is going to be pretty active. I do. At least a lot more active than it has been. I mean, shoot, even the remainder of this month, I think it's going to be a lot more active than it has. I mean, we're already like a little bit more than halfway through the season. Once we reach peak season, which was back on the 10th, that is when, we're at the top, at the peak of the season. Now we're just going down. But, we still have a little bit less, I'd say about 48% of the season left, roughly. Something like that. Hey, there's still time. And everything's already warmed up. So, I don't think I can share that. Just hope it doesn't come to Michigan. Nah, Michigan, we don't got anything going on up there. I mean, storm-wise at all. Yeah, it's pretty quiet up in Michigan here. Let's see. Omar says, will I not have to watch for a hurricane into Florida's Big Bend? Not anytime soon. I mean, obviously, if something, develops, we'll let you know. But, nah, there's no imminent danger for anybody in the tropics, from the eastern, or at least the Atlantic, I should say. Let's see here. Let's not forget the most... Atlantic's top most intense hurricane have happened in late September, October. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, September, October are pretty, they can be pretty aggressive pretty aggressive months of the season. Absolutely. There's been so many West Coast hurricanes. So you're scared for the West Coast of Florida. Yeah, especially last year. Actually, the main ones last year were all West Coast. There wasn't a single storm last year that hit Florida's East Coast, was there? I mean, obviously we had impacts from these storms, but not landfall. So we had Milton. I know Milton went straight through Florida from the Gulf to the Atlantic. Then you had Helene, which went to the Big Bend, and I think Debbie did too. Debbie kind of followed a similar track, at least up to the point of Florida. Or at the Big Bend, I should say. Omar says, yeah, I'm lucky. I mean, hey, you never know what the future holds, man. But for now, you're good. I mean, right now, there's no threat for anybody. So we'll obviously just keep an eye on it. You guys know we'll watch it. If anything big comes, we'll let you know. Until then, we just got to monitor, keep our eyes peeled. Despite a slow start to the season, we obviously don't need to let our guards down. We still got to keep our guards up. Okay? So, yeah. Definitely got to keep our guards up still. Don't want to be like, oh, well, season's, been slow so far, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to have any hurricanes this year. No, can't say that. Got to still be on alert. Still got to watch it. Let's see here. It's me, your friend, says hit that like button. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. But yeah. So, like I mentioned, for the people just joining us, odds right now, within at least the next few days are pretty low of this thing doing anything. I mean, it's got to combat some dry air. It's going to do such. Next 7 days, 70% chance. I mean, pretty good odds of it doing something down in time. But at that point in frame, it's just too far. Too far. Zach says, the storm seems to pull up from the Caribbean, then front picks them up, shoots them to the northeast. Yeah, absolutely. That happens quite often. It's all about timing, and if you have a moment without a frontal system sometimes, I mean, it depends on where they come from, but yeah, hurricanes can easily be picked up by frontal systems, absolutely. And I forgot which storm it was. I know Milton didn't really have a... What? Or did it? Was it Milton? I think Milton might have had a little bit of a nudge from a frontal system. I really don't remember. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. I'm terrible at remembering these systems and the little mechanics that go in them. I mean, obviously, if they're significant enough, I remember some of them, but yeah. All right, Carrot. Let's see here. Jill says, thank you for being there, my friend. Of course. We're here for you guys. We care about y'all. Omar says Ian. I remember Ian. I wasn't here during Ian, but I do remember Ian. I think we covered Ian, didn't we? I'm pretty sure we did. I know we covered... Wait. Was Ian the one that hit... I'm confused now. Ian was... So there was an ice... Ian was the one that hit, like, similar to Milton, right? Kind of went up. Something like that. And then we had Adalia, which I covered that storm too. I'm pretty sure that was a Big Bend landfall. See, I get myself all mixed up all the time. All the time. Did Wilma have to deal with 40 knots of shear? I don't remember. Wilma was a while ago, though, wasn't it? Let's see here. Let me look. Yeah, Wilma was 05. I was 3 years old. I don't think I'd remember that. Just imagine a 3-year-old kid. Yes, it's battling wind shear right now. Nah, but that 04, 05 were really active seasons. But I don't remember. Adalia struck Big Bend. That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, that's the one that I streamed, and we had the Hardys go out without power. I don't know if any of y'all were in the chat here now or in that stream, but yeah, we covered that whenever it made landfall. It was something else. What about brownies? Bro, what? That does sound pretty good though. I ain't gonna lie. Man, y'all in my chat always make me so hungry. Like yesterday, Roby, I don't know if Roby, if you're here, Roby was making barbecue, and it's like, dude, that sounds so good. Now I want barbecue and brownies. That doesn't sound good together, but, don't forget about 03. Was 03 a pretty big season? I would have been 1. I would have been 1 year old, because I was born in April of 02. Yeah. Oh, there's a cat in here. Y'all, you want to see a kitty? I just realized this cat is in here. Let me give y'all a closer look at the kitty. So this is Nova. Sometimes we call her Nova Scotia. Look up at the camera, little one. Hey, we got a kitty. A kitty weather freak. This cat. Okay, you went down. I literally didn't even know she was in here. Me too, Omar. Lasagna's good, man. Alright, anyways. You know, this is kind of weird, but lasagna reminds me of a hurricane. Let me tell you why. Because lasagna, you have these layers of noodles, right? So in a tropical cyclone, they are vertically stacked, meaning that there's layers upon layers. That, I don't even know where that came from, Omar. I have no idea where that came from. What's up, Nova? Cool name. Oh, yeah. Supernova. We call her Supernova. We call her Nova Scotia. My mom mostly calls her Nova Scotia, but anyways. Had an April storm, first Cat 5 in 1998. 176 ACE units, 3 major hurricanes. Also had 2 December storms and another 3. Wow. Goodness. You know, Andrew, speaking of Hurricane Andrew, first storm of the season, Andrew Cat 5, Miami. Andrew was pretty small, though, of a hurricane, wasn't it? Stop, bro. I'm on a diet. That's funny, bro. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to as well, man. It's rough. It's rough coming in here talking about food and stuff, man, I tell you. Absolutely. But anyways, yeah, so like I said, we'll just keep you guys up to date with everything. Any new information we get, we'll definitely let you guys know. You know, ensembles still wiggling. I mean, we still got a little bit of wiggle going on here, but that'll probably continue for at least the next couple of days here, you know. Shift up, down, whatever. But like I mentioned, what I can tell you and what I'm really happy for is that most of the models do show, or most of the members, I should say, in the models, do show the activity north of like the Antilles and the Virgin Islands and stuff. So that's certainly good news. Let me let my cat out. Oh my gosh, I almost fell out of my freaking chair, dude. Oh, I can't reach the door. Okay. Goodness. Andrew 92. I was negative 10. So I was born in 02. Andrew was in 92. I could be the reincarnated hurricane to human. Possibly. I don't know. I believe it was one of the smallest Cat 5s, at least in the satellite area. So that's actually the thing, though. You know, tropical systems, large, small, they require a lot of energy to grow to such a massive size. You can have a small hurricane, and it doesn't take as much energy for it to strengthen as, say, a big hurricane. I mean, I guess that's just common sense. You know, you have a really tight, compact system. Don't be surprised if it can explode in activity. You know, if the conditions are right, of course. You know, a good example would be Aaron. So Aaron had a lot of moisture added to it. I believe from portions of like South America, there was a lot of moisture that was added to Aaron, which made the storm bigger. It made the system a lot bigger. Say Aaron was to not have as much moisture, and you know, go in the water as it was, that storm could have easily been a lot stronger. It could have been. There was like 20 tornadoes. I don't know about 20. I know there's been a lot of them, but I don't know about 20 tornadoes today. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think it was that high. Let me check SPC here. Let me at least look at the reports that we've got. Okay, we have 22 reports, but some of those could have been repeats. What about filtered? I'm not entirely too sure. But yeah, we do have 22 tornado reports. That's out of one storm. Wow. Yeah, I haven't been paying too much attention to today, but I have seen it a little bit. Still got a little bit of activity going on right now. Still got that one tornado warning. Expires 27 minutes ago. Okay, so I don't think that's in effect anymore. Here, let me go to recent time here. We do. Still got 2 minutes on this one here. See, hence why tiny tropical cyclones explode so quickly, like Super Typhoon Forest in 83, which exploded from 976 to 876 in 24 hours. What? Sheesh, dude. Yeah, I never heard about that one, but that's crazy. But yeah, smaller systems, man. Tropics, I mean, they can blow up quick. They really can. It's crazy how fast they can really strengthen. You know, a big storm with a massive wind field uses a lot of its energy not necessarily in strengthening, but in size, you know? And a lot of that has to do with a lot of the moisture that the system has. You know, the more moisture, the bigger the storm could get. I think that's got to at least do part of it. Can I check the water temps in the Caribbean and Gulf? Because I did hear someone say the temperatures are extremely hot. Thanks. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. I got you. Yeah, let me bring them up. They are definitely warm. They're like 30 Celsius in the Western Caribbean right now. Here we go. Let me bring it over here to you guys. Perfect. Yeah, so there you go. There's the... Here, I'll even bring up the little key here so you guys can see it as well. There you go, on the right. But yeah, the Gulf is still good 30, 31 Celsius. Same thing for portions of like the northern and western Caribbean too. Out by the Bahamas, we're still a good 30. Some locally 31 Celsius waters out here. Very, 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 very warm for sure. A lot of the Atlantic is, you know, not just the Caribbean and Gulf, but, you know, central Atlantic too, out by like Bermuda. We're still like 30, 29 Celsius basically. Cabo Verde just south is like 28. So, no man, waters are super warm, but you got to remember there's also like other things that play a, you know, factor, you know, not just off sea surface temperatures. You know, you got, you know, wind shear and moisture levels too. You know, if there's a lot of strong winds throughout the atmosphere, wind shear can really rip apart a storm. And then if there's no moisture, you can't get no convection. So it's like bath water. Yeah, it's like, well, 30 Celsius, I believe, is like 87 Fahrenheit, if I'm not mistaken. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Let's actually, you know what? Let's do that. What did I say, 87? Let's see how close I am. So we'll do, what did I say, 30? Darn! 30. Oh, man, I was 1 degree off, bro. 1 degree off. 29 is 84.2. 31. So some of the waters are 87, almost 88 degrees. Golly. Yeah. That's very warm. That's very, very warm. Anyways, folks, well, you know, what we can do now is just keep an eye on the weather. You know, if we have any new updates, we'll definitely let you guys know. But, you know, things, like I said, right now, at least to start, are going to be pretty slow. As we continue down in time, you know, for, like, later on next week, that's where, you know, things are going to have a better shot at actually doing something and, you know, possibly strengthening into something decent. So we'll have to see. But until then, we'll just, we'll keep on updating you guys. We'll go live, you know, here and there. We'll start, I'm going to start shooting for like 2 streams a day like we've been doing. That's what I did today. But my stream cut out. I had to delete the live stream because it was only like a few minutes long. And then I made a video instead. And then now I did this stream. So tomorrow we'll probably just shoot for 2 streams again for you guys. That way we can keep you guys up to date with everything. Okay? feels like 96 here. It's a little toasty. Zach says thanks again. Yeah, no problem, dude. I got you. But all right, everybody. Well, I think I'm gonna roll off here for now. But yeah, just keep an eye on the tropics. We'll definitely be keeping you all up to date with everything. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, leaving a like. It'll be greatly appreciated. But all right, everybody. Well, thank you all for joining. You guys take care. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Alrighty. Y'all take care. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, my friends. See ya later on.